Power Rangers, a TV show I never watched, but I know a lot of kids that did. Is Phil Good a Power Ranger? I don't know. I don't know what the Power Rangers did, but Phil Good on YouTube. Um, I got to tell you, in the past when we tried him out, he wasn't really, what do you call that, resonating with us. Wasn't really resonating with us, but we still, we still go back to Phil. Like we have quite a number of people that we've listened to over the past few years. And we go back, we go back and we look to see, and I can't remember. Um, but in any event, Feel Good recently has become spot on, really, really incisive. And so I hate to try and copy what he said, but I'm going to give you the short form. The short form of what he was talking about is why are we all fighting? Why are all the humans fighting? And this was a new answer from Feel Good. And the answer was the scripts, the words that we're saying, are controlled by what he calls higher dimensional beings. And the higher dimensional beings are right now in the habit of triggering us. Do you know what triggered means? Somebody says something to you and you get all offended, or you get into a big argument. And Phil says that it's trying to release the energy, the stuck emotions in, maybe it's the human subconscious. So if you find that you're getting into fights even when you're trying to avoid fights, it's because the script is for you to be triggered and for other people to be triggered, to let go of all of this stuff that's bubbling underneath the surface. I mean, I would have just left it at that, but it just happened to me today. 2 occasions I found that I normally wouldn't talk to these people in this situation, because I've learned, avoid talking to these 2 people as much as possible. Because the history is, if I spend any time at all, you never know what's going to happen, but pretty much you guarantee it's going to start a big argument. So I usually tiptoe past these ones. But for today, now I wasn't in control. I watched the body where it goes, and the body took me right to the firing line of these 2 people. And lo and behold, I was given to talk. Just something silly, stupid, innocuous, shouldn't have, but I know you go near these people, you say anything, it will trigger them, and it will trigger me. And lo and behold, it did. And then I came way down the basement, and I sat here for a second, and it was Brant and Laurent. They said, "You know what that was?" And then it came to me. It's exactly what Feel Good said. As much as I don't like to go in there because I don't want to be triggered, they brought me there to trigger me and these other people. So, if you find that you're like, why did I get involved with those people again? It's not your fault. You didn't do it. Now, the backstory of all this is a lot of you people still are under the mistaken idea that your brain creates the words and sentences and the thoughts that you experience and the words that you speak. You don't. Your brain doesn't do it. Somebody once said your brain is at best, it's like a receiver radio. And it tunes into radio frequencies, and put it together with Feel Good's talk, it tunes into frequencies of words and thoughts that higher dimensional people have set up for you. I don't know why it's set up this way. I don't understand it. But the possible map for this is the Oversoul 7 book by Jane Roberts. Jane Roberts was the same author who wrote about Seth, S-E-T-H, an extraterrestrial who talked through a number of different books about the nature of personal reality. But in the Oversoul 7 books, there was people, Earth people like you and me, living at different time periods. So, we're in 2020, but there are people that are living in 1492 and people that are working away in caveman times, let's say 10,000 years ago. You're looking at me funny because your understanding of time is that 10,000 years ago that was past. No, nothing's going. Yeah, well, that's not what a lot of people who have studied this and had visions. A lot of people say we just don't understand time properly. But those people 10,000 years ago are living right now, 10,000 years ago. So it's just like, if you went to Hollywood in a movie set, you could go and make a movie about cavemen. You just set up a set that way, and then they go around. And you could do a set about 1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue. You could have big, tall ships sailing across the ocean. And then you can have, what's going on present day. And that's all possible when you go into Earth plane, apparently. And those other people, even though it's now here, 2020 we call it, it's now 1492 and now 10,000 years ago. And in the Jane Roberts books, she explains this a little bit more, in that Oversoul 7 book especially. So, now what's the Oversoul? Well, the Oversoul is a person who is in charge of, they're supposed to be helping you in your life by giving you ideas. So, in essence, that's what she's saying, is that there's other people in hidden dimensions where you can't see them, but they are sending you thoughts. And maybe they're also organized with other people in their realm, organizing who you're going to meet, who's going to phone you, what you're going to talk about. So if you follow this, then it might even happen for you as a soul. Stuart Wilde, the metaphysical writer, said that he took you know what a Mobius strip is? You take a long strip of paper and you put one little kink in it, and then you tape it together. And he said, you, here in 2020, also have a version of your soul that's maybe in ancient Rome in the past, and maybe another version of you somewhere in the future, maybe in the year, 2080 or something. There's a version of you, and they're alive. So your soul has multiple incarnations of people in multiple time periods. Apparently, the soul is so vast, it's way bigger than just, one person. And it's all, so you are a subset of a much larger thing. And this is where it gets tricky, because I mean, some people say, well, you are a soul. And, your sister is a soul and your mother is a soul. And each one of those, but that idea of a soul is different than the idea that there is fewer souls, and a bunch of you people are part of the same soul. Some people talk about soul groups, or sometimes they talk about monad. None of them seem to be on the same page. So it becomes very difficult because no one really can define these things exclusively, because some people use them in different ways and different meanings. In any event, what do you want to do with this information? Does what you do in this incarnation affect other incarnations of your soul? Some people say it could be. Can you help other versions of you in other time periods? Yes. The idea is that you can send love to other versions of you in other time spaces. Send love to situations. You can send love back to, for example, World War II. And then what happens? Well, if enough people sent a lot of healing, love, energy back to World War II, perhaps we could change the timeline so that World War II never happened. One way you can send energy is through Reiki. You were told in Reiki class that you can send Reiki back in time. So that would make Reiki a tachyon kind of energy, which is faster than the speed of light. And someone said, you can't go faster than the speed of light. Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't actually seen like Reiki beams, but I certainly have felt the Reiki energy. And I'm not a Reiki master or a grand master. So, as far as the expertise of all this, you might not look at a Reiki book and go back and see what the originators say, and hopefully it's true.